I have some great HOA stories for you today, and you're going to love that title story too. Here's our first one. This story takes place in an HOA, entitled Neighbors Demand I Fix My Fence, posted by Wobro. This one happened maybe about 10 years ago, but just came to mind. I'd purchased a house with my wife when I was about 26. We were definitely the kids of the neighborhood, but we were excited to get started making the home ours. All of our issues stemmed with one of the next door neighbors. This started with basic entitlement. The landscaping in the section of the property that bordered theirs was pretty horrific, made worse by how the previous homeowner stored their RV there. There were some paver stones creating a little walkway across our front lawn. We set about to fix this whole section first, moving all the old landscaping rocks, building a retaining wall, putting down landscaping fabric, and moving the rocks back. Took an entire summer. Looks great now. Not good enough for the neighbor. The old lady says, "I use that pathway when I walk between these houses." And I reply, "Well, hey, I would much prefer you use the sidewalk if you need to come to my door." Well, when are you going to clean up the rocks on my yard? She wanted me to do the same thing I did on my side of the property to her section. Yeah, sorry, you're going to need to hire a landscaper. Fall rolls around, as does winter. She made sure to point out to me the previous homeowner used to clean the leaves off of my yard and used to shovel my walkway and driveway for me. Yeah, maybe if she'd ever been polite to me, I would have considered helping out an elderly neighbor. So now the real story begins. It's the middle of winter, and I'm keeping pretty busy being dad to our new baby and going back to school. It's finals week. We find a note on the door. "Your fence has fallen onto our property, and we cannot get out of our house." Well, how'd you post this on my door? So I go out back and I take a look. Sure enough, a few sections of the fence have failed. It's leaning against their house, preventing access to the back gate. So I call my dad, and he shows up with tools in his truck, and we proceed to dismantle the broken fence sections, put up some temporary fencing, and clean up. I'm going to have to do some grading work and dig out the old concrete footers to fix this right. The ground is frozen solid, so this will need to wait. The next day, I hear some commotion out by the fences. It's old lady and old man. Wife and I go to see what's going on. As we approach, they are both standing out by the temporary fencing, scowling, shaking their heads no. Hi there. This is not acceptable. What do you mean? We put this up for now, but you need to fix your fence. Excuse me? I need to fix my fence? Yes, this is not acceptable. This fence was here before we built our house. Total lie. Her house was built before mine. This is public record, and I have documentation that shows this. It was provided to me during the sale. Okay, what do you mean? This should suffice for fine just now, just to keep the dogs out of each other's properties. You need to put up a 6-foot privacy fence. At this point, I'm just ticked. The fencing that borders my other neighbor's property has fallen before, and we both worked together and split the cost of the repairs. Oh, do I? Well, if it's my fence, I don't need to do anything. In fact, I could remove the rest of the fencing as you are claiming it belongs to me. No, you need to put up a 6-foot privacy fence. Says who? Not the state, not the city. The HOA says so. I have documentation stating that the HOA was disbanded 20 years prior. There is no HOA. It was disbanded in 1987. Then who am I sending checks to every month? Oh man, I have no clue, lady, but it's definitely not the HOA. Oh, it figures you wouldn't pay your HOA dues. You are the worst neighbor ever. I'm done here, lady. There is no HOA, and since you stated this fence is my property, I'll do whatever I want with it. The only requirement here is that I keep my dog out of your yard, and this temporary fence, it'll do just fine. The old man says, "I'm gonna rip this fence down, and then you'll see what happens when your dog comes onto my property." The old man is blind, but he has a very angry vibe to him, and he has NRA stickers all over his cars. I know what he's implying here. Sir, if you damage my property and lay one finger on my dog, I will have you thrown in prison so freaking fast your head spins. What did you just say? You come say that to my face. Yeah, right, dude. So I grab my wife and we walk back into the house. A few days later, code enforcement shows up. They come out and they inspect the fencing section. Code enforcement informs them there is no code that dictates any type of fence, and since he cleaned up all the debris, there is no code violation. Or is there? As I can now see, the old lady and man's backyard is 100% weeds. Some of these weeds are at least 6 feet tall. Some of these weeds are considered noxious, meaning that you are legally required by the state to kill them and remove them. So I send a letter to code enforcement, and the next day, I see the old lady scowling at me, trying to drag a trash bag full of weeds out of her backyard. I did fix the fence a few weeks later, after finals, when the ground had thawed out just a bit and I could do it right. So this starts on a Monday, the 13th, as I receive an email from a VP not over my department, or bad VP. I'm told that my team will be required on the 4th. I politely tell them that no, our team has been scheduled this day off and people already have plans. My team is the IT team, and as many of you know, IT team gets, shafted every time that it can get shafted by, any company. So over the course of the week, I let my team know what's happening. I let them know that I've been reaching out to higher ups to fix it, and I also tell them that if their plans are ruined, I'll make it right at work. Over the course of 3 meetings, it starts to look like things will not go my way. In response, I sent an email to the CEO of the company. All of my higher-ups know that I was going to do this and said that I should do this, as he is very family-oriented and that he would not allow anyone to work on a national holiday. Well, he's on vacation in the Bahamas until the 6th, but his assistant informed me that he would look at this after he gets back. I repeatedly slammed my head into the desk. So, I tell everyone that it'll be work from home and that we'll be setting my cell phone as priority in the call routing, meaning that I would get most of the calls. To be honest, I was expecting almost 0 calls, especially since I was asked to send out a notification that IT support would cover the 4th of July. I never sent that email out. A day later, I was given another outrage. I was told in an email that my employees would be required to be at the office and no one was allowed to work from home. They would be checking the door badge ins to verify that we were at the office. I asked why in an email, and they said that they wanted to make sure no one was playing video games at work. We normally work from home about 2/3 of the week, and video game playing is a normal occurrence at work. So I walked into the person's office, and after a very long conversation where she was losing the logic war with me, she told me that it's just IT, you guys don't even have lives. No, I'm not kidding you, that's exactly what they told me. I reported this to my VP, who said, I'll take care of this. It likely won't be until after the 4th, so get creative. I know this man well. We have worked together for a long time, and get creative is code word for corporate screwery. I asked the person requiring us to be at the office if they cared if we had an office party. They said no, as long as it didn't interfere with the call flow. Even suggested using my new company card to pay for it. Go wild. Pro tip, never tell me to go wild. At this point, it was Tuesday the 21st. I let everyone know what's up, but that I have something planned. I asked who had things planned for that day, and 2 people told me that they were planning to shoot off fireworks with their family, but the rest were planning barbecues with friends. I write up an email to the VP over my department and the bad VP. I tell them all that I had let everyone know. We all were expected to work until 8 p.m. on Monday. Per the conversation with the bad VP, I'll be having an office party as sort of a sorry to the guys and the gals who got shafted by this decision. The bad VP replied again, thank you for your understanding. Also, yes, I would expect an office party if I had to work on the 4th of July as well, so go wild and enjoy your time. Use your new company credit card if you need to cover a few expenses. Also, I should not have to remind you or anyone else. No fireworks or alcohol on company property. So now it's time to tell you about my office. See, a while back, the IT team was moved from the main corp office and into a smaller building by itself. It has a nice gaming break room, a decent-sized gym, and a full-on drink bar. Soft drinks, mind you, no alcohol at work. Out back is a big patio that crosses county lines as soon as you cross a small creek. A creek that just so happens to have a footbridge over it, leading to an empty field. I start making phone calls. Monday, June the 25th. I call up everyone into an hour early meeting that morning, and I explain to them all that I will be making it right. I asked everyone to invite their friends and the family to the office. No supplies will need to be brought by anyone. Now I tell them all that this will be non-alcoholic, but that I will be planning something for everyone. I told them to expect all food to be provided and they don't need to bring anything unless they want to bring some fireworks, i.e. they won't have to spend a dime. The 4th comes and the entire day we did absolutely no work. No tickets, no calls came in. Well, 7 calls did come in, but from the same person, the bad VP. She was calling to make sure we were manning the phones. All of us were playing video games or watching movies. 6 p.m. rolls around and everyone was told that the food was ready. People were expecting hot dogs, hamburgers, maybe a bratwurst or two, and what they got was a full-on barbecue feast with pizza and other foods. There was smoked brisket, spare ribs, smoked sausage, smoked turkey, both kinds of tater salad, coleslaw, green beans with bacon and onion, potatoes au gratin, pizza from 2 different places, excellent hamburgers, and bratwurst hot dogs. On the dessert side was cake, very good cookies, 4 different kinds of pies, and about 2 pounds of fudge. Families and friends started showing up at around 6:15ish. Some brought alcohol, but I told them that they would need to leave that in their cars as I was not that crazy. Some were not too happy about that, but agreed as it was a free dinner for random strangers. So let me set the scene for you. I'm out there with all the calls routed to my cell phone, and everyone just having a good time. We have a ton of people that are just there enjoying the fun night, chatting about random stuff, eating the food, and occasionally lighting off some sparklers or throwing firecrackers into the stream. It's not stocked and it's only like 1 foot deep. My VP, not the bad VP mind you, showed up with his family, brought some water balloons for the kids and man-children. Around 8:30ish, it's getting dark and people want to shoot off more than the simple sparklers and the firecrackers that we'd been using. The VP over the IT department had everyone cross the footbridge, over county line, and off company property, mind you, and we set up a big wooden board using it as our launch pad. We fired off what we had for about an hour or two and sort of just hung out for a little while. At around this time, people were tired and ready to head home. I told people just take home leftovers within reason. We all clocked out at around 8 and no one left until about 10:30. The bad VP did call once more while we were out back at the party, and it was 7:50 and she called asking for a status update. My exact words were, "Well, you were the only one to call us today. The rest of us are on the back patio enjoying the 4th of July shindig." She simply acted like my boss and said, "As long as no alcohol or fireworks are on company property, I do not care." We ate roughly half of the food catered. The rest was taken home. A small group volunteered to stay behind to clean up, including my VP. We had a funny conversation about how this is going to make waves with the bosses, but he said that he had my back and asked me how much this cost. I just gave him a sideways look, which made him laugh. Tuesday morning, I submitted the expense report to my VP. This email would inevitably make its way over to the bad VP and up the chain to the CIO of the company. It would be a bad idea to give out the exact cost of the party, mind you, but I can tell you that because of this 4th of July party, new rules were put into place. Any expenses of over $4,000 or more must be approved by the direct supervisor, VP over the department, and the full expense report must be sent to the financial department for review after the fact. Hint, the party cost over $6,000. The barbecue was the most expensive part. I didn't order from like a low or a mid-tier place because the place that I ordered from has consistently been on top 10 in the DFW listing for the last 30 years. I ate at that place so much that I made friends with the owner. The best barbecue that I have ever had. The pies and the cakes were custom made by a bakery, and the cookies were made by a boutique cookie place. I had like 10, 12 packs of Coke, Coke Zero, Dr. Pepper Zero, Pepsi, Pepsi Zero. I bought 5 pepperoni, 5 sausage, 5 cheese, 2 Hawaiian, and 3 cheeseburger pizzas from one place, and nearly the same number from another place. Excluding the cheeseburger ones, I subbed out those for a different specialty pizza from the other place. The burgers were from an excellent burger place that did catering. I know that owner well. He brought his kids for the night of fun after he'd heard what was going to be happening, and he was also the one who brought the brat dogs as he recently added those to his menu. This was the most expensive office party in the history of the company. The only things more expensive than this were some business meetings that the CEO rented private rooms in high-end restaurants for. As for the CEO, he was outraged. Not at the cost of the party, mind you. He knew the party would not have been necessary if people had been allowed to go home. He was outraged that IT was the only group required to work on that day. When I submitted the log showing how we received no real phone calls, no service requests, and that we basically watched movies and played video games during our shift, he'd heard enough. He apparently sent out a scathing email about work-life balance and the importance of our holidays to every upper management. It's kind of funny, as people wanted me to get in trouble for what I did, but the reality is other departments have done similar things in the past, just not on the scale that IT did. The bad VP was admonished quite effectively and sent me an apology email. I forwarded it to the team with a strong hint to not reply. Then my VP let the CIO and the CEO know about what the bad VP said. You guys don't have lives. The bad VP did actually confirm that she said it in a meeting with her EVP. It did not go over well. I've never heard people yelling in an office meeting like that before. I mean, the CEO of the company came to our office and yelled at her. I'm not sure if she was fired, but she is not at work today. In an Active Directory, she does not have the down arrow of death, so not 100% of what happened to her. I know that she lost whatever clout she had at this company with her attitude. If anything more happens, I will update. But so far, it looks like the fallout from this is that I caused a new rule to be put into place about how much you're allowed to spend at one time. The bad VP may or may not be let go or forced to resign, but I know she got yelled at. Strangely, there is now no longer any pushback for my bid to get everyone back to working from home. Make my coworkers cry? I will help karma turn your life upside down. Posted by Ancient Ice. Backstory. I worked at this hotel for over 2 years and was one of 2 people left that went through the training when our hotel changed hotel franchises. During this training, we were told about certain rules the company had. So here's the cast. The manager is the front desk manager. He was only here for 4 to 6 months at this point. Me, I'm a nice guy unless you're a bully or an entitled person. And there's a few others that I'll mention as we go through. The story. One afternoon, I was scheduled to work second shift, 3 to 11. I walked in, and both AM front desk coworkers looked like that they'd been massively crying as their makeup was smeared. My manager looking quite ticked. I ask, hey, what's wrong? Manager says, we have a major jerk as a guest. This guy is the highest level on the rewards for the hotel chain. He's very demanding, and he wants free upgrades, free this or that, and he screams anytime he has an interaction with the staff. This guy has made every department call me complaining about him. Now this guy just came to the desk and he screamed at these 2 coworkers until they were both crying. These 2 ladies were fresh high school graduates and were very sweet and innocent people. They loved helping people and didn't deserve this treatment. As he is explaining this, I look up this guy's room details. Once my manager finishes explaining everything this guy had done, I see this guy's info and I had a smile from ear to ear. I reply, hey, didn't you see that he's an employee of a different hotel? Manager says, yeah, but so what? I replied, well, first off, while you travel as an employee, you're required to behave and be respectful. It's in the fine print on the discount form. I grabbed this form and showed it to the manager. Failure to be respectful can lead to having your employee discount suspended or permanently revoked and even get you terminated. You need to call this guy's hotel and ask for the GM, then explain to him who you are and what this guy is doing. I look up the hotel phone number and call the hotel and then handed my manager the phone. Manager, after his call-ins with the GM, he has an evil and satisfying smile on his face. His GM is steaming mad after I described all the stuff this guy has done. The main switchboard phone rings. I answered, hello, thank you for calling hotel name. How may I direct your call? Caller says, I want to speak to entitled jerk's room, please. I replied, absolutely, sir. Have a nice day. Transfer the call and looked at my manager and saying with a sarcastic tone, someone wanted to talk to entitled jerk. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Manager continues after he stopped laughing. The GM gave me his personal cell phone number and said that if I have any more issues at all to call him immediately. I'm leaving the phone number next to the switchboard. If you need it, call him. I told manager, hey, your revenge is done. Now for my revenge. Manager wide-eyed said, oh crap, what are you going to do? Me, smiling a very evil smile. Hey, you'll see. I pick up the phone to make a call. Hello, Hotel Rewards customer service. Yes, I would like to report someone using reward account while using an employee discount on his stay. Customer service says, he can't do that. I replied, I know, I'm calling to report him. I gave her the guest reservation number and the rewards member number. I continued, hey, I bet anything, if you dig through this guy's history, you'll find all his stays are probably at employee discount. Customer service says, I'm starting a ticket to have this guy's account investigated. I replied, thank you. Then hang up the phone. The manager watched as I then remove his rewards number from his stay. My manager had a huge grin on his face. That was awesome. I explained, oh hey, I am not quite finished with him yet. It's time to go spread the news to all the departments that he's no longer a rewards member. I made a new key for his room without concierge access. I walked around to every department. As I explained why I was stopping by, everyone had the same reaction as soon as I mentioned the guy's name. Oh gosh, what about this jerk? I finished explaining how he was no longer a rewards member, and if he gives anyone issues, to call the front desk immediately, and his GM already probably tore him a new one just a minute ago. Everyone was so happy at this news. I finally went to the concierge room, used the guest's new key to void his current key, and then I walked into the room and explained the information to the evening concierge. She cringed at the mention of his name after explaining that she would not have to deal with him again, and asked her to leave the morning person a note about this guy not allowed in the concierge room anymore. She was very happy. While I was gone, evidently the manager explained what we did to the 2 a.m. front desk ladies. The minute I got back to the desk, both my front desk coworkers all came up to me and gave me a huge hug and thanked me so many times. Manager to me after the other coworkers went home said, hey, do me a huge favor, please. I replied, yeah, sure, what's up? Manager said, if I ever tick you off, please come tell me so I can fix the issue. Later that night, entitled jerk comes to the desk, hat in hand, politely saying his key doesn't work. I replied, oh, so sorry about that. Let me make you a new key. In the best fake smile that I can muster. Aftermath. The next day, I check his rewards account and it is now suspended. I check back the next week. Sorry, account number not found. The HOA demands that I follow their rules, but I'm not even in the HOA. Click the video on your screen so you don't miss the fallout of this one, and I will see you there.